हरिः ओम् नमः सर्वेभ्यः। अष्टाध्यायी परिचयः इत्यत्र सुबन्तप्रकरणस्य अभ्यासवर्गाः प्रचलन्तः वर्तन्ते। तत्र अद्य चतुर्थः अभ्यासवर्गः। शुक्लाम्बरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। येनाक्षरसमाम्नायमधिगम्य महेश्वरात् कृत्स्नं व्याकरणं प्रोक्तं तस्मै पाणिनये नमः। वाक्यकारं वररुचिं भाष्यकारं पतञ्जलिं पाणिनिं सूत्रकारं च प्रणतोऽस्मि मुनित्रयम्. We have the list over here. Let us start with Ratnakarji with the Anushtubh word, simple word. Ratnakarji, please raise your hand. Namaste.
Namaste, Acharya. Namaste, Sarvebhya. This is, in fact, more or less, as you said, the simple word. And the very reason for my giving this word is there was no opportunity for me to cross-check this in the website. That's the reason. And in all this, the fundamental point is Jashatvam, Jalam Jashonte. That's the thing.
Very good. I'll add
Ardha,
this. Thanks for reminding. I'll try to add this word to the website. It's a useful word, and we only have Kakubha, I think, on the website, and not Anushtubh. Anyway, yeah.
అర్ధపదార్థ ప్రత్యయ అనేన ప్రాతిపదిక సంజ్ఞ జ్ఞా ప్రాతిపదిక అనేన సౌజష్ అమౌట్ షష్ ప్రత్యయ
let's correct you a little. So it's okay to say arthavadhatura pratyay because you don't know how this word is derived. But technically what happens is you have anu iti upasargaha, then you have stubha is the verb, and you have kvip as the pratyaya. Anu plus stubha. Very good, very good. So this is a sarvapahari pratyaya. It goes away. So this becomes pratipadikam by krittadhita. Very good. Yeah.
द्विकी और द्विवचने एकवचने सुप्रत्ययः अनुष्टुप् स then anantaram halgyabhyo dirghatsuti sepraktam hal then roto visarga. Similarly sambuddhi
Jashtvam. After halgyabhyo
Jashtvam is there. Then one
why do you do the Jashtvam? Why not directly bha to pa?
Fine. It is a padanta. First one.
That's okay, but I mean, see, what will happen if you do va avasani 8456? If you look at the sutram 8456 va avasani says avasane pare jhal varnasya vikalpena char varnadeshah bhavati. So there is an avasana in front. You have a jhal varna called bhakara. Tasya vikalpena pakara deshah bhavati.
So when we say that vikalpa, there must be something else before that. That shall be my idea.
So let's see this. You have anushtubha. Okay, you have anushtubha. You somehow you forgot applying jhalan jashunte. You convert
correct. You are right.
You convert bha to pa. You get the correct form anushtupa. You have the form over here, right? And then you remember jhalam jashunte and you convert bha to ba. So you get anushtuba. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The question is, why did you apply jhalam jashonte in between? Why not directly? Again, you, I don't refer to you, anybody in the class. Why do we don't directly convert anuštubha to anuštupa? That's okay.
Because it is jal varna.
Who is jal varna?
Is jal varna.
Correct. Bhakara is jal varna. That is correct. But what I'm saying is in Vavasane also you need a jhal varna. Look at this. You need a jhal varna in Vavasane. So avasane pare jhal varnasya vikalpena char varnadeshah bhavati. Let's see what others are saying. Purnima ji.
नमस्ते महोदय. त्रिपादी सूत्रम् अस्ति जलां जशोन्ते तत्पूर्वं प्रवर्तते तदनन्तरं अवसाने इति.
Correct. So see, there is a typing mistake over here. This should be 8 to 39. And 8 to 39 is a Purva Tripadi Sutram. 8456 is a Para Tripadi Sutram. And in Tripadi, a Purva Sutram always takes precedence over Parasutram. Yatra yatra Purva Sutrasya prasakti asti, tatra tatra avashyam Purva Sutrasyeva prayogaha karaniya, Parasutrasya prayoga na karaniya. Atah atra Anushtubha.
One minute. Is that what we say, Purvatra Siddham?
This is Purvatra Siddham. So Purvatra Siddham simply says that in Tripadi, Purva Sutram Parasutrasya Krutya Siddham asti. Kaha arthaha, in case of Anuštubha, two sutras act, at least try to act in parallel. Jhalam Yashonte tries to convert bha to ba. At the same time, Vavasane optionally tries to convert bha to pa. The conflict has to be resolved by saying that this is Tripadi. In Tripadi, a Purva Sutram does not acknowledge the Parasutram. I think in this class or some other class, I gave an analogy of people acting on the stage and everybody knows who is acting on the stage, something like that. I don't know which class. But in this way, in this particular case, the Tripadi Sutram Jhalanja Shonte does not see Vavasane. So it says that I don't have anybody to fight, therefore I win. And therefore, he directly gets applied. The Sutram gets applied. So you have Jhalanja Shonte over here. Clear? The simple meaning of this particular sutram, this particular rule is that in Tripadi, the rules must be executed in sequence. Therefore, you have no choice but to apply Jhalanja Shonte and then Vavasane. Okay?
Yeah. And there are many typos. Only yesterday night I realized.
That's okay.
I may be,
we'll fix together. That's it.
And the other one is Sambuddhi Sangya. In fact, I wrote here Ekavachanam Sambuddhi, though it is not required because it is given as Sambuddhi. I just wanted to mention that. That's it.
So,
and
Ekavachanam Sambuddhi ityanena Sambodhanasya Ekavachanasya Pratyasya Sambuddhi iti samnya bhavati. Correct.
Okay. That's the reason I gave. Otherwise, it need not be mentioned basically. For some other reason, it is. Then same Jalam Jishonte, then Vavasani, same rule. Then Au. That is Pradama Vibhakte, Bahuvachana Prachaya, Bahushu Bahuvachana Manena, just Prachaya, Jakara Sechutu, Anana Pratyayadi Lopaha.
That's okay. So in Anuštubhau, we have only Varna Melanam, so we can skip that. In Anuštubhaha, you are talking about Asa, then Rutva and Visarga. There's nothing over here.
Correct.
Next.
I'm also simple joining. The only thing is Antyamakara doesn't get the nullification because of Navibhaktotusma.
Elision. The word is elision. Otherwise, you say Lopaha. Usually, you don't substitute the technical terms with English equivalents. Okay, so you say it doesn't get Lopaha. So it doesn't get Lopa. So because Navibhaktotusma will block the Itsamnya, therefore it will block the Lopa. Anuštubham iti bhavati. Next.
Then Shas Bahushu Bahuvachanam. Shas is Antya Shakarasya Lopaha. Lashakvatadite, then Sakarasya Lopaha, Na Vidhiyate, Nishedaha, then Anuštub Sruto Visargas.
Okay. One question over here. You have Anuštubhas. Anuštubhas. Why not Tasmat Chasona Pumsi and convert this Sakara to Nakara? There is a sutram Tasmat Chasona Pumsi, Rama plus Shasa becomes Ramasa and then becomes Ramana. Muni plus Shasa becomes Munisa and then Munina. Why not Tasmat Chasona Pumsi?
This is the Strilinga Shabda, first word.
Okay, this is a Strilinga Shabda. This is not a Pullinga question. I asked in a wrong word, but any other reason. Suppose this was a Pullinga word. First of all, let me, let's finish up this word. If it was a Pullinga word, what would happen? You caught me on a wrong word. If it was a Pullinga word, what would happen? Shri Rangaji.
Prathama Yoha Purva Savarna.
Prathama, what Prathama Purva Savarna? So let's do Prathama Purva Savarna first and then do Tasmat Chasuna Pusi. What is the problem? I asked Tasmat Chasuna Pusi, you can do Prathama Purva Savarna also before that.
Yeah, before that we need to do this one. Prathama Yoha Purva Savarna.
So you should do that, right? So,
Antya Hallo, this one.
So what happens? Anuštubha. But
there is no Varna. There is no Aja.
There is Anuštubhas. There is full Akara here, right? Anuštubhas. That's what we are talking, right?
Yeah.
So you do the Prathama Yoha Purva Savarna. Anuštubha. So becomes Na. Anuštubhan.
It happens with akvarna only.
So there is akara at the end of bh. It is akvarna. Anuštubha. I'm not talking at a random stage. Look at what my question. Anuštubha plus asa. You combine the two. Anuštubha. Correct. After doing the varna milanam, what is happening? There is an akara over here. So you do tasmacha sona. Sorry, you do prathamayoho purva savarnaha. You do anuštubhas, and then you do anuštubhan. Ashutosh ji.
Namaste. Oh,
Namaste.
Striling, because it's a Striling word.
Yeah, so my mistake. I should have asked this question for a different word. But let us ignore the Strilinga part. Let us assume this is not Strilinga. Then what will happen? Or let's say Marut. Let's take the example of Marut. Marut plus Asa. Shall I ask the same question going ahead for Gachat instead of Anuštubha? Yeah, Vidyaji.
महोदय तत्र कुत्र अच् अस्ति मरुत् इत्यत्र हल् इत्येव भवति खलु
सत्यं
मरुत्
मरुत्
प्लस्
इत्यत्र हल्
अस्वर्णे
सत्यं मरुत् इत्यत्र हल् अस्ति परन्तु तत्र वर्णमेलनं क्रियते किल प्रक्रियायां मरुतस् मरुतस् अच् वर्णः अस्ति उत नास्ति
अत्र अस्ति परन्तु तत्र अस् इति प्रत्ययस्य अस्ति अङ्गस्य तु त् इत्येव अस्ति खलु
Correct. So understand this distinction very carefully. Prathamayoho purvasavarna sutram, or in general any sutram, talks about anga is not the correct word, but prakrutehe ante vidyamanasya varnasya vishaye tatra chintanam कृतम् अस्ति. प्रकृतेः अन्ते कश्चन वर्णः विद्यते तस्य वर्णस्य अग्रे प्रत्ययस्य आदिवर्णः अस्ति चेत् अग्रे प्रक्रिया भवति. So this is a very crucial point. Prathamayoho, let's go to Prathamayoho purvasavarna. In Prathamayoho purvasavarna, I mean, I'm just giving you an example. Prathamayoho purvasavarna. In Prathamayoho purvasavarna, akvarnat prathama dvitiya vibhaktyoho ajadi pratyay pare. So you need a construction where a is at the ak is at the end of prakruti and there is a in front of it of the pratyaya. In the case of marutta, you have marutta plus asa. You combine that, but here this is not that of the prakruti. And even if there is something called adivat bhava, antadivacha, you assume it at the end of the prakruti. There is no of the pratyaya. So you need a pair of the akaras. So that pair of akaras is not there, and therefore in marutas you cannot do prathamayo purva savarna followed by tasmat chasona pumsi. Minor things, but these should be understood.
So partially, in a way, I too am correct.
You are 100% correct. There is no question about it. Because Anushtubh is not a Pullinga word. So this question does not stand for Anushtubh at all. It technically stands for Marut. But I completely ignored the fact that Anushtubh is Strilinga before asking this question. That brings me to my next question. Why is Anushtubh Strilinga? Why not take it Pullinga? If it would have been Pullinga, what difference would have happened? Purnima ji.
Sir, I don't think there will be any difference because of the halanta word. Usually, I have seen there really no difference.
Very good. So this part of the answer is correct. There will absolutely be no difference at all. Whether Anushtubha is Pullinga or whether Anushtubha is Strilinga, there will not be absolutely any difference as far as this particular derivation is concerned. The Subanta table is concerned. In fact, Anushtubh, what is Anushtubh actually? What is it? Is it name of a tree? Is it name of a flower? What is it?
It is Chandas.
Chandas. What word is Chandas? What is the gender of the word Chandas?
Napumsakalinga.
Napumsakalinga. Tat Chandaha. Not Eshaha Chandaha. Etat Chandaha. Chandaha Chandasi Chandamsi. So when Chandas word itself is Napumsakalinga, what is the point in characterizing the specific name of the Chandas Anushtubha in Strilinga? Is the question. Vidyaji.
किं वा इति न जानामि महोदय पूर्वाचार्यैः उक्तं शब्दस्य एव अस्ति तत्र प्रत्ययेन न दीयते अस्य शब्दस्य नाम केवलं शब्दस्य नाम अधीयत इति मन्ये
शब्दस्य कस्य शब्दस्य नाम केन अधीयत? I could not understand a single word.
तत्र पूर्वाचार्यैः
न तत्र किमस्ति, पाणिनिना न कृतं पूर्वाचार्यैः कृतं is basically throwing the ball in somebody else's court. पूर्वाचार्यैः किमर्थम् इति प्रश्नः अग्रे अपि उदेति.
तत् सत्यमेव.
You're almost there. So understand the answer to that this particular question, or in general any other question, is that शब्दानां लिंगम शिष्ट प्रयोगात् नो चेत लोक प्रयोगात् सिद्ध्यति. The gender of the pratipadikas, the gender of the words, in fact the pratipadikas themselves are specifically understood from the way they are used in the loka. There is a Linganushasana book, but the Linganushasana book does not directly define the gender. I don't know if Linganushasana has this particular word called Anushtup. It's worth seeing also. Let's try that. I also don't know this. Anushtup is not there, but Bhakarantaha. There will be a section on Bhakarantaha. This particular this particular Linganushasana has that had sutras specific to individual endings. So look at this Nantaha. You see this Nanta. There will be something Rutvantaha. So the linga based on the last letter or sometimes the second last letter. Topadhaha, Nopadhaha. So Bhantaha. Maybe there is a Bhant or something. I don't know. We need to search. But anyway, depending on the linga that is seen in the loka, this particular Linganushasana was created. The Linganushasana does not define the linga. Linga is something that just comes with the language. That is just the fundamental property of different words. For now, you understand this. There is a significant amount of Shastrartha behind it. Why Anushtup is Strilinga? I can actually spend 90 minutes explaining that. We are going to do that in our next module. In the Stri Prakaranam, in the next module, I am going to spend a significant amount of time explaining why some words are Pullinga, why some words are Strilinga, why some words are Bhashita Pumska. Phenomenal analysis has been done in our Shastra. But for now, just understand that it is simply Lokat. Lingam Shabdana Lokat Siddham Bhavati. Lokat in the sense way people use the language that defines the lingam. Anyway, where were we? Shasa. Agre.
Then Bhyam.
Ta kimapi nasti. Ta kimapi nasti. Varnamelanam. Anushtup ityartha kimasti. One word you can just say and we'll move ahead.
That is Jalam Yeshonte.
Very good. That's this. Just
then this same.
Nge kimapi nasti. Bhyas kimapi nasti. Ngasi kimapi nasti. Ngas kimapi nasti. Os kimapi nasti. Am ityatrapi kimapi nasti. Anushtup plus am anushtup. There is nothing to explain. Okay.
Yeah, correct. As far as this is a very simple word.
Very
that's
simple
what
word.
I understand.
Yeah.
And
Anushtup
this thing, with all excuses, I thought because it is a simple word, you asked me to do this. Because I am not.
We'll come back to you. Also have Sajush, right? We'll come back to you for Sajush. That's one of the most difficult words. I think. Did you take Sajush?
Yeah,
look at this. Dhatvada. This is a very good word, Sajush. We'll come back to you again. Anyway, so let's do soup. Let's do this and then we will move ahead.
Then Bakarasya Su Jalam Yeshun Pakarasya Itsange Halantiamanena Tachilopa Anushtu plus you Su Jalam Yeshunte Padant Jasapon Bakarasya Bakaradesa Anushtu again Vavasanena Vaikalpika Charatwe Bakarasya Pakara Anupsu Iti Suptegantam Padam. I think there is one more this thing Anushtu should also be
Anushtup what?
Anushtup su. Takara should also be added, no? Something like that. It is Vaikalpika.
Tasu.
Correct. I think somewhere in some other website I saw this word. I don't know how it gets applied.
I mean, I don't think that's correct. There is no sutram. Let's go to Kakub. I can't anyway recollect a sutram. Kakubsu. Kakupsu. There is nothing. It's just Anuštupsu. That's it. No other sutram. That must be some mistake.
Fine, thank you.
But before that, I have a question over here. Why not Anushtup Anushtup-shu. Why not Anushtup-shu? Because there is a pa varna, right? So I would believe that for ka varna and pa varna, the sa must get converted to sh.
It is
Pushpena.
short
So
should
see, Pushpena. There is a pa varga, so na gets converted to na. Similarly, for the pa varga, sa must get converted to sh. So it should be Anushtup-shu and not Anushtup-su. Clear? Not clear?
yeah. Now I got it.
Clear, right? So for ka varga, for pa varga, and obviously for swaras and so on, na becomes na, right? So in the same way, this pa must, this sa must become sh. Anybody? Why don't
Nona
we do
and Atkupang though they don't apply here.
Very good, very good, very good. So who applies? Who applies? You're almost there. So what he said was that I'm trying to use at kupangnum vyavayepi. At kupangnum vyavayepi does not apply here. Which sutram applies here? Nobody knows. Not even a single hand. Which sutram applies here? Anybody? The question is very simple. Why not Anushtup-shu? At kupangnum vyavayepi. Basically, I gave examples of na to na. But the sutram over there is different. At kupangnum vyavayepi. That's okay. That sutram doesn't apply here. So which sutram applies here? And why is sa not converted to sh, Saroja ji?
Inco.
Very good. Inco. Explain that. What is inco? Okay. Anybody who wants to explain what inco sutram is? Saroja ji, you want to explain? Are you able to unmute yourself?
Ini.
In letter, correct. And in letter. And Sunanda ji.
इन प्रत्याहारे ये वर्णाः सन्ति ते भवितुम् अर्हति नो चेत् कु इत्युक्ते कवर्ग.
Kavarga. So it is not, the pa doesn't come in the kavarga. Very good. So pa doesn't come in the kavarga. Therefore, you don't have Anushtup-shu. You have only Anushtup-su. Okay. So that completes the first word, probably fastest in our many previous classes.
And in fact, out of all this, the one question I could probably that might come from you is at Jalam Jeshante, why can't be Jalam Joli
Jalam
at
Jashi.
Sakara?
What? Jalam Jali? What is?
Jalo Jali, sorry. For Sakara, instead of
I don't know what that sutra
so
is. Where are you reading all these sutras? Did we learn Jalo Jali? Jalo Jali is specific. Huh? No, right?
But in fact, it calls for another Jal Varna for Sakara Lopa.
So, see, Jalo Jali is...
Paranimittam Jal Varna should also be required. That's what...
Jalaha uttarasya sakarasya jali parataha lopaha bhavati. This configuration is not there here at all. There is no jal followed by sakara followed by another jal. Jalo jali is only used in tinganta prakriya. Therefore, there is no need to talk about it in the subanta prakriya. Okay, this completely
but in fact, I thought, why not this question? Probably that question might arise from you. I thought of it. That's
so you prepared the answer, and when I didn't ask, you only asked it. So, okay, nice. So I don't ask random questions. The questions only those questions are asked for which the answers are expected. Jalo Jali is not in the Subanta Prakranam, even in the Siddhanta Kaumudi 2 to 8 to 1. I think in the Bhwadi, he teaches it in the Bhwadi Prakranam. So much later. Anyway, Shri Kumari ji, no worries. Thank you very much. We'll come back to you once again at some other word.
Adyeva Karaniyam, Acharya.
Adyana Karaniyam, probably after a few classes. Today is you are only one word today. Anantaram. Okay? Astu. Namaste.
Namaste, Mahodaya.
Gachat. Gachat. Prarabhita.
This is Ugit. I don't know to speak in Sanskrit.
That's okay, but why is it ugit?
Actually, that Gacha Shabda is obtained by adding Shatru Pratyaya to Gam Dhadu. So that Shatru Pratyaya is Ugit Pratyaya. So the
Katham ugit asti. How is it ugit?
Uk it satnya. Shatru Pratyaya.
Uk ityasya saha. So Shatru ityatra rukarah asti. Rukarah uk pratyahare vidyate. Uk is u, ru and lu. So this is ugit. Very good. Okay.
So
Next.
the Pradipadikam is Ugit Pradipadikam. Then the main point is that Numagama. Ugitacham Sarvanamasthane.
Very good. This is how you should tell the prakriya now. Ugitacham sarvanamasthane.
Adhadoho ityanena angasya sarvanamasthane pare numagamo bhavati. Midachondyat paraha ityanena angasya andyat achaha para vidhiyate. Then halandyam, that lopa happens. Then last is that sagara is getting deleted by the sutra. Halnyabhyo dirghada sutisya priktam halidyanena aprikta sagarasya lupyate.
Correct.
So next is sayogandasya lopaha ityanena andima takaro lupyate.
Antima takaro lupyate. Okay.
Then
Gachan iti siddhiti. And I have multiple questions over it. 2 questions I'll take and I'll ignore others. First of all, again, questions are to everybody, not necessarily to you. First of all, you do halgyabhyo dirgha sutisya praktam hala ityanena sakara lopaha. So sutisi praktam hala is sa, ta and sa ityetesham lopaha bhavati. Why can't you apply the same sutram again to get rid of ta?
Only we can apply sutra only once.
No, but you apply once only for one entity. You are applying sutra on a different entity. Earlier you applied on sa, now you are applied on ta. Why can't you apply the same sutram on ta?
That ta is for tingandam.
Very good, very good. So it's a ti pratyaya. Tinganta means it's a ti pratyaya, and here it is a si pratyaya. So this is tipa pratyaya, tiptasji, and sipa pratyaya, sipthastha. So these are not applied for subanta, and therefore you cannot apply halgyabhyo once again. You have to apply sanyogantasya lopaha, and that gets rid of takara. Okay, why not get rid of nakara over here by nalop of pratipadikantasya? After this takara is removed, why not get rid of nakara by nalop of pratipadikantasya?
It is actually not pratipadika nakara. Asiddham actually.
That is the correct answer. It is not a pratipadika nakara is not the correct answer because one particle here and there is acceptable. So you have gacchata, you could make gacchana, that's okay. But the point is it is asiddha. Why? Because you are already applying 8 to 23. You cannot go back to 8 to 7 again. Okay. So 8 to 7 is not going to see 8 to 23. So 8 to 23 is asiddha towards 8 to 7. Okay, now I have another question. I said I only asked 2, but there is another question. Again, not necessarily for you. Here you are doing numagama. So you are doing a numagama over there. Numagama is a complex operation. You have to add a big particle called numa before takara, after akara. Then you have to get rid of makara, get rid of ukara, leave nakara over there. Then get rid of that sta, then get rid of ta, and so on. So many things you have to do. I'm proposing all the way different alternative. I'm saying instead of doing all that, let's make a very simple sutra which says takarasya nakaradeshaha bhavati. So gachan plus su. Let's make a very simple sutra. Why do all that roundabout? Takarasya nakaradeshaha bhavati. Gachan plus sa, and then halgyabhyo dirgha sutisya pruktam hala will get rid of sakara. Is this acceptable? Or there is a problem in what I'm thinking?
Simply how we can.
No, I'm saying I'm proposing a new sutram. I'm not saying it's doable in today's system. I'm saying I'm proposing a new sutram. Instead of doing all this numagama and so on business, let's do, and let's assume somehow that this is not ugita and ugidacham sarvanamasthanya dhatoho is not applicable. So we'll do some kind of circus around it. And instead of doing a numagama and all sorts of further computations, because eventually what is your final form? Your final form is gachan. So that's what we'll do initially. Let's change ta to na. Let's create a sutram, nakaradesha bhavati. And then gachan plus su, halgyabhyo will get rid of su. Two-step prakriya. Gachan will final form. Same set of hands are raised up. Tell me.
Then that should be applicable to many other words like marit, bhavat, many other
I'm
words.
saying, I'm specifically saying do it for the Shatru Pratyanta words. Because for Shatru Pratyanta words, Gachat becomes Gachan, Pathat becomes Pathan, Bhavat becomes Bhavan. So actually for all Shatru Pratyanta words, we'll simplify the life. So we create a sutram, a hypothetical sutram, which will say that for Shatru Pratyanta words in the Pullinga, let's do this. Ratnakarji.
That Nagara will get deleted.
Correct. So there's an answer over here. So Nakara, yeah, speak. That's okay. You can speak.
Nakara, that will get deleted.
Dakara will get deleted. How?
Nagara.
1 second. Ratnagarji. Are you? 1 second. Are you able to speak now?
Am I being heard?
Yeah. Now
the thing is, again, Nalopa Pratipadikanta
very good.
Immediately comes into the action. That's the thing.
Correct. Very good. So as soon as you convert Gachat to Gachanna, that Nakara will be considered like a Pratipadika, part of the Pratipadika. So Nachan is still a Pratipadika. Pratipadikantasya padasya Nakarasya lopaha bhavati. So that Nakara lopa will immediately happen. So that's how Karman becomes Karma or Atman becomes Atma. So that Akara is brought by a separate sutram, but this particular Nakara will immediately be removed, and then further problems might happen. If that to na is converted to is present into Sapada Saptadhyayi, then other further problems might also happen. So Sarvanama Sthanecha Sambuddhau will cause Dirgha and so on. Let's go to the Sambuddhi. So I asked a bunch of questions over here. Okay. Sambuddhi.
So it's same as previous one.
Same as previous one. There is absolutely no difference. Why there is no difference? Because there is no Upadha Dirgha present over here. In the Prakriya of Gachan, you do not have a sutram that has Upadha Dirgha. If Upadha Dirgha happens, like say Bhagavan or Mahan, we are going to come to that, then there is a difference in Sambodhan and Prathama, but there is no sutram that acts causes an Upadha Dirgha. So Gachan and Gachan are same. Prathama Dvitiya Dvivachanam.
Here just Varnamelanam only.
Numagamaha, not Varnamelanam. Numagamaha bhavati.
That already told.
Numagama and then Varnamelanam. Gachantau. Explain these steps.
Gachantau, then Nascha Padandasya Jali Ityanena, Apadandasya Nakarasya Sthane Anuswaro Bhavati. Then Anuswarasya Yei Parasavarnaha Ityanena, Anuswarasya Sthane Nakaro Bhavati. Then it is
Gachantu. Why to do these steps? Is eventually from Gachantu you came back to Gachantu. Why spend ink, energy, time?
So that Nakara is Apadanda Nakarasya. Ta is Jal Varnaha. So Apadandasya Nakarasya Sthane Chali Varne Pare Anuswara Adesho Bhavati.
I understood that. But why to do? I mean, because you are again doing Anuswara Sayi Parasavarna. So again, see, na becomes Anuswara becomes na. It's like do something and undo something.
That is compulsory. Nascha Padandasya Jali Tyanena Padandasya Nakarasya Anuswara Bhavati.
Okay, so what is a better way of saying that? Compulsory is very crude. What is a better way of saying that? Parajanyavad Lakshana Vritti.
That is Nitya.
Not Nitya. Nitya is the very weird word. Don't use that. Parjanyavad Lakshana Pravrittihi. Parjanyavad Sutra Prayogaha Bhavati. Ityukte yatra sutrasya prayogaha kartum shakyaha. Tatra sutrasya prayogaha karniyaha. Whether it is useful or not, that kind of discussion is not to be done. Understand this Nyaya. I explained this Nyaya in one of the classes earlier. Parjanyavat Lakshana Pravritya something. Exact wording. Let's see in Paribhashindu Shekhara. Parjanyavad Lakshana Vritti. Where is Paribhashindu Shekhara? Parjanyavad Lakshana Pravrittihi. So, Kaharthaha Parjanyavad, just like a rain. Once there is a correct condition for rainfall, rain will fall. It will not see which land it is falling. Somebody Ratnagarji is saying it rains everywhere. Whether it is a dry land, whether it is an ocean, it will rain if there are clouds, black clouds are there and the condition of rain is satisfied. In exactly the same way, sutra has to be applied whether or not it is useful. In this particular case, there is a scope for Nashyapadantasya jali, so it has to be applied. Agre gacchamaha, there is nothing in gachantaha, gachantam, identical prakriya, shas. There is nothing, numagama will not happen. It's simply varnamelanam and rutva visargau. Gacchataha, gacchata varnamelanam. Let's go to bhyam.
That prakritehe padasanya by swadishtu sarvanamastane ityanena gaccha sabdasya padasanya vidhiyate. So when it is a padam, that jhalam jasonda ityanena tagarasya stane dagara adesho bhavati.
Correct. Same as Anushtubhyam, whatever we saw earlier. That time we forgot talking about Swadishwa Sarvanamastani, or you might have mentioned, I didn't listen. So Swadishwa Sarvanamastani Nityanena Padasamnyayam Satyam Jashtvam Gachadhi, Gachate, Gachadbhya, Gachata, Gachato, Gachato, Gachatam, Gachati. Let's talk about this last prakriya.
Here also that Swadishwa Sarvanamastane ityanena gaccha sabdasya padasamnya vidhiyate. Then jhalam jasonda ityanena dagarasya stane. Dagarasya stane dagara adesho bhavati. Then it is gachatsu. Gharija ityanena dagarasya stane dagaro bhavati.
Gachatsu. Correct. Now I have one question over here. There was one student who wrote this particular form. Ratnakarji, you have a question?
Acharya, just because of the discussion, wherever this Jalam Jishanti is applied, should we first of all give that Sarvanama Sangya?
Not Sarvanama, Pada Sangya.
Sarvanama Sthana Sangya.
No. Jalan Jashonte is for Pada, right?
Correct.
Pada Sangya.
Swadishu Sarvanama Sthane, should we apply everywhere?
Technically, you should say, I mean, you have to apply. Otherwise, because see, when you say Gachat plus Bhyam, how are you going to do the Jashtvam if it is not a Pada? Because Jalam Jashonte says Padante Jashtvam Bhavati. So you have to say this is a Pada because of Swadishwa Sarvanamasthane. You might skip it assuming, I mean, for example, in your Anushtub discussion, I didn't realize it because it is very obvious we take it for granted. But it's always better to write it. Let's see what we have done on the website. And let's take, for example, which word you want to say? Kakub. Bhakaranta Shabda. Kakub. I'm just taking a random word and seeing if it's written over here. See, Swadishwa Sarvanamasthaneti Padasamnya Tadanantaram Jalan Jashantiti Jashtvam. So it's always better to write it because otherwise you can't justify Jashtvam. Okay. Now there is a question I'm going to ask over here. There was a student who in this particular prakriya, Gachatsu, he created this form. Gachathasu. Instead of tha, he wrote thasu. Gachathasu. My questions are over here like this. First of all, is that complete? I mean, was that a typing mistake on his part? He wanted to write Gachatsu, but he wrote Gachathasu. That's the first question. If not, if it was not typing mistake, if it was something beyond that, then what could be the logic because of which he wrote Gachatsu? So that's the second question. First question is, was it a typing mistake? Second question, if it was not a typing mistake, then what was the logic in that student's mind when he did Gachatsu? And third question, whether the logic in that student's mind is correct or not. So 3 questions.
It is not typing mistake.
It is not a typing mistake, or it is a typing mistake.
It is not a typing mistake.
It is not a typing mistake. Okay, then why would he say Gachathasu?
Actually, there is one Vartikam something.
Very good. Something.
At the place of Vartika only, no?
Correct. But what is it, sir? There is no Vartika or something.
That is at the place of the, we can replace that with the next letter.
So what is that Vartika? Anybody?
Vartika, I don't remember, sir.
That's okay. See, I'm not only asking you. Purnima ji, do you remember the Vartika?
Chayo something. They are complete Vartika.
Okay. Now I'm going to. Sorry, I muted you. I am going to give you 1 minute. Feel free to search on the website, in your notes, whatever, in your PDFs. Tell me the Vartikam. Lalita ji. Lalita ji, you raised your hand.
Chayoho
Chayoho, what? I'm not able to hear you. We are not able to hear you.
Chayoho द्वितीयः इति.
Chayo dvitiyaha. Agre. Chayo dvitiyaha. That's not a correct Vartikam. Chayo dvitiyaha.
Chayoho
Chayoho dvitiyaha. Something else is there in that Vartikam.
Agre.
Chayoho. क्षम्यतां वदामि वा?
वदतु.
चयो द्वितीयाः शरी पौष्करसादेरिति वाच्यम्.
चयो द्वितीयाः शरी पौष्करसादेरिति वाच्यम्. This is a Vartikam that says the Chay letter. Chay is Varga Prathama. This is a very unique Pratyahara only used in the Vartika. You do not see this Pratyahara in the Sutra Patha. Chaya. So Kha, Pha, Cha, Tha, Tha, Cha, Ta, Ta, Ka, Pa. Chatata Kapa is the Varga Prathamas. Varga Prathama Varnanam Dvitiyaha Itukte Varga Dvitiyaha Bhavanti Sharvarne Pare. So you have a Varga, look at this configuration, Gachatasu. You have Varga Prathama. वर्ग प्रथमादनन्तरं शर्वर्णः अस्ति. तस्य शर्वर्णस्य उपस्थितौ वर्ग प्रथमस्य वर्ग द्वितीये परिवर्तनं भवति. So you have त getting converted to th, giving gachatsu thanks to the Vartikam chayo dvitiyaha shari paushkarasaderiti vacham. So first question, it was not a typing mistake. There was actually some logic. Second question, the logic is the student applied chayo dvitiyaha shari paushkarasaderiti vacham. Now the third question, was the student correct or was there a mistake in students' thinking? Should we apply chayoho dvitiyaha here? Lalita ji. Let her answer.
Chayo dvitiyaha, when we apply, when there is
what? I think you're broken.
Dvitvam.
No. I mean, does the Vartika say like that it should have a Dvitva? The Vartika simply says Chayo dvitiyaha shari. Chayoho dvitiyaha shari. Dvitve and so on is not there in the Vartikam, right? So to follow what the Vartika says, we'll ask someone else.
Harija, shall I tell you, sir?
Yeah, tell. Go ahead.
Harija is having priority over that one. So that dha will be again thoroughly.
See, you already did Kharicha right here. Okay. After doing Chayo dvitiyaha shari paushkarasadeti vachyam, if you again do Kharicha, then Chayo dvitiyaha Vartikam will be completely useless. So the very fact that Chayo dvitiyaha is given tells us that after doing, see what is happening, the Chay Varna is Varga Prathama, it is getting converted to Varga Dvitiya because of Shara, and the Kharicha also requires, also has a Shara. So Shara is a part of Khar letter. So when there is a Shara letter, Varga Dvitiya will anyway get converted to Varga Prathama. So if you always wanted to convert back third to ta, then the Vartika will become completely useless. So the very fact that the Vartika exists is sufficient to tell us that when by this Vartikam Varga Prathama is converted to Varga Dvitiya, you don't convert it back to Varga Prathama because otherwise the Vartika will be useless. So the very definition of the Vartika tells us that you have to stop at that Varga Dvitiya. You can do other operations if you want, but don't convert it back to Varga Prathama from which it started. So that's not the correct answer. You could have converted it to Kachathasu and you could have stopped there. Ashutosh ji, what do you want to say over here?
Is it because of asiddhatvat, nanindya kroshe putrasya?
Very good, very good. So see, understand this point. Minor things, but you need to understand this. Whenever you are applying Vartikas, specifically in the context of Tripadis, you need to understand which Tripadi Sutram the Vartika is associated with. You cannot randomly apply Vartikas anywhere in Tripadi. So in case of Chayodvitiyaha Shari Paushkinasaderiti Vacham, it is explicitly told, I also explained this in the class, that there is a sutram called Nadinya Kroshe Putrasya. It is near the Dvitva Prakaranam. That's from where somebody might have remembered the Dvitvam. So you have Nadinya Kroshe Putrasya. In this particular Nadinya Kroshe Putrasya Vartikam, Sutram, you have this Vartikam Chayodvitiyaha Shari Paushkarasaderiti Vacham. If you go to the Sutram, I have explicitly taught it over there that this particular Vartikam Chayodvitiyaha Shari Paushkarasaderiti Vacham has to be associated with Nadinya Kroshe Putrasya. I might have even explicitly written this line somewhere because this is a common question, that where is this Vartika to be applied? So this Vartikam has to be included in Chayodvitiyaha Shari Paushkarasaderiti Vacham, and therefore in case of Nadinya Kroshe, therefore the number of Chayodvitiyaha Shari Paushkarasaderiti Vacham is considered to be 8448. The Vartika gets the number of the Sutram because the Vartika is considered an extension of the Sutram. 8448. Now what happens in our Prakriya, look at, you can see that in case of 8448, you cannot apply that Sutram 8448 because of the Tripadya Siddhatva after 8455. The ta is created by 8455. Before that, there was actually the. In presence of the, you cannot apply Chayodvitiyaha because Chaya is Varga Prathama. You need a Varga Prathama. That Varga Prathama is created by 8455 Kharicha, and once you apply 8455, you cannot go back and apply 8448. Therefore, even though the logic was correct and the student correctly remembered Chayodvitiyaha Shari Paushkarasaderiti Vacham, the timing was wrong. You cannot apply Chayodvitiyaha Shari over here. I think this will be discussed in Siddhanta Kaumudi in Kharicha, because in Siddhanta Kaumudi, in some other place, he discusses Chayodvitiyaha Shari Paushkarasaderiti Vacham. Let's spend this because this is important to understand. Chayo Dvitiyaha. There is a visarga lopa over here. Chayo Vyakhyananveshanam. If there in Siddhanta Kaumudi one place, give me 1 minute, we should be able to. No, it's there in class 35, Paushkarasade. That's okay. I want to show the location of this particular, so it's in Gano Kuktukshari in Siddhanta Kaumudi. Look at this. This particular Sutram, Chayo Vartikam, Chayo Dvitiya Shari Paushkarasaderiti Vacham is given in Gano Kuktukshari in Siddhanta Kaumudi. And if I correctly remember, look at this over here. Kashikayam, look at this note written on the slide. Kashikayam, Chayodvitiya Shari Paushkarasaderiti Vacham, iti Vartikam, Nadinya Kroshe Putrasya Asmin Sutre Pathitamasti, Kaumudyam tu Prasanga Vashat Idam Vartikam Asmin Sutre Nirdishtam Vartate. Prasanga Vashat means because Kaumudi has reordered all sorts of Sutram, Kaumudikara has also reordered the Vartikas and made it associate with the Sutra where he wants to show them in the Prakriya. So he uses Nadinya, he uses the Chayodvitiya Shari Paushkarasaderiti Vacham in Ganoho Kuktukshari, but where in context of Tripadi, where Ganoho Kuktukshari is to be understood, it is to be understood only in Nadinya Kroshe Putrasya 8448. So this is the whole essence over here. That completes the second word.
Sir,
One second. Vidyaji.
तत्र णोः कुक्तुक्षरि इत्यनेन तत् वार्तिकं स्वीक्रियते चेदपि तत्र असिद्धत्वमेव भवति.
नो कुक्तुक्षरि इत्यत्र वार्तिकं स्वीकृत्यापि असिद्धत्वं भवति, परन्तु 8328 तथा 8448 इत्यत्र मध्ये ये यानि सूत्राणि वर्तन्ते तेषाम् अनन्तरम् अपि अस्य सूत्रस्य प्रयोगः सम्भवति, अतः नादिन्या क्रोशे पुत्रस्य इत्यत्र इदं वार्तिकं स्थापितमस्ति. There is a reason why the Vartikam is present over there, because the Dvitva, somebody was saying Anachicha and so on. In those cases, you need this particular Vartika. Nadinya Kroshe Putrasya. This is after Anachicha, I think. It's just 2 sutras after Anachicha. So Anachicha and Nadinya Kroshe Putrasya. Achorahabhyam dve Anachicha. In case of Anachicha, it is possible to have that Chayo Dvitiya or something, some examples you can figure out. That's why the Vartikam is given after that. Clear? Shri Kumari ji.
Sir, what is the Srilinga form of Gacha Shabda? Gachanti or Gachati?
I think it is Gachanti, right? Gachanti. I forgot.
Gachanti is Prathama Ekavachana form.
Prathama. No. See, what happens is, in the Strilinga, there is no Numagama in the Vibhakti forms. Soumya ji has written a very nice article on that. I strongly recommend you read this. In Vyakarana Lekha, I think there is one article specifically written by Soumya ji, Shatru Pratyayanam Numagama Sangrahaha. In this article, she explains when the Numagama happens in case of Vibhakti and when it happens in case of Pratipatika generation. So in case of Dhatus that belong to 1, 4 and 10 Gana, so Gacha is in the Prathama Gana, the Numagama is in the generation of the Strilinga form. In the Vibhakti form, there is no question of, this is actually very important. That's why I completely ignored that point. Yeah, tell me.
Actually, morning I searched for the feminine form of this one. So I have a doubt from where this na comes, Gachati, Gachanti, that na, from where it is.
So the reason why we did not discuss that in the Subanta Prakriya is that the feminine form Gachanti, the na present in this has nothing to do with Subanta Prakriya. Now I read this article many years ago. It was written many years ago, but there is an explicit line over there which clarifies this. Let's read this. Look at this. Look at this. This is I mean, this is like a golden line. Strilinge numagamaha. Let me zoom it in. Strilinge numagamaha bhavat. Strilinge numagamaha bhavati chet प्रातिपदिकावस्थायामेव भवति सर्वेषु विभक्तिषु रूपेषु सः नकारः श्रूयते न भवति चेत् कस्मिन्नपि विभक्तिरूपे न भवति. So in case of Strilinga, the Numagama in the Shatru Pratyaya is completely independent of the Subanta table, is completely independent of the 21 Pratyayas. That's why we never considered it, or we didn't even talk about that point in the class on the Subanta Prakaranam. In case of Napumsakalinga and Pullinga, the Numagama depends on the specific concept like a Sarvanama Sthana. But in case of Strilinga, the Numagama is before the Pratipadikam is created. So when a Stri Pratyaya is to be added, that kind of Numagama and other discussions are important, not in the discussion of the Subanta Prakaranam.
Okay,
clear?
Thank you, sir. Oh, clear.
Yeah, and I strongly recommend people read this particular one. It was written like 5-6 years ago, but some of the parts in this particular article might be hard for you to understand, or maybe a lot of parts would be hard for you to understand, but at least some part it will be easier for you. So some of the sutras actually, va napumsakasya jalechaha ugitacham sarvanamasthanya dhato, these sutras we have studied. So these sutras you might be able to, or the part related to that you might be able to understand from this article. Does that complete Gachat word? Gachatoho, Gachati, Gachatsu. Everything is done. The next is Mahat. Alaknandaji, please raise your hand. Namaste. We'll take both of your words, Mahat and Shashak, one after the other. Start.
महत् इति उगित् शब्दः अस्ति.
Let us stop here. Bhai Ugit. Where is Ukar over there? Gachat was easy, right? Shatru Pratyayanta word. So Gachat was Shatranta. Bhai is Mahat Ugit. I don't expect you to know this. If anybody, tell me.
उणादि प्रत्ययन्त अस्ति तत्र वर्तमाने पृषद् बृहन् महत् जगत् शत्रुवच् इति शत्रुवत् अस्ति अतः.
You have done your homework, huh?
Yes.
Very good. I'm impressed. Vartamane. Look at this. Let's explain this. I'm opening Ganapatha. Unadipatha. Okay. Explain this. Explain whatever you have studied.
पृषद् बृहत् महत् जगत् इत्यत्र अति प्रत्ययः अस्ति, तत् प्रत्ययः शत्रुवत् स्वीकरणीयः.
Very good, very good. So look at this. This is an unadi pratyanta. So this is I expect from almost all students. Find out, do some homework about your word. So vartamane prushad bruhat mahat jagat shatruvacha. So these words are generated by ati pratyaya. Ati is an unadi pratyaya. So these are generated by ati pratyaya. And so for example mah iti dhatuhu at iti pratyaya ikarah uchcharanarthah tasya lopah bhavati. At mah plus at becomes mahat, and he says shatruvatcha. This word is to be used like a shatru pratyanta word. Means what? Shatru pratyayah ugit asti. Uk varnah itsamyaka asti. Anenaiva prakareణ अत्र महत् इति शब्दे अपि ugit eva gunadharmah svikriyate. But then I have a question over here. Why this is like doing everything in indirectly. Instead of saying giving an ati pratyaya and then saying shatruvacha, there was actually easier for him to give an atu pratyaya. Atu pratyaya get ukara as its samyaka. So vartamane prushad bruhan mahad jagat shatruvacha. Instead of giving ati pratyaya and saying shatruvacha, just say the pratyaya is atu. So maha plus atu ukaraha itsamnyakaha, it will go away. Maha plus ata mahata, and anyway it will be shatruvat. Or if you really want to do the shatruvat, do an atru pratyaya. But why not atu is the more important question. So atu iti kimartham na kritam or atru iti kimartham na krutam iti prashna.
अर्थः भिन्नः भवेत् वा? अतु
तस्य अर्थः प्रत्ययास् आर्
महत्
hypothetical.
इत्यस्य महत् इत्यस्य अर्थः अति प्रत्यये भिन्नः भवेत् वा? Just guessing I am.
Correct. But what I am saying is pratyayas are hypothetical, right? Pratyayas are conceptual things. They don't exist in the actual spoken language. They're conceptual entities. So instead of ati, what is the problem in giving an atu pratyay or even atru? Shatru vadasti kila. So give an atru pratyay. Anybody knows the answer? That's okay. Shri Kumari ji.
If it is attu, then upadha dirgha happens.
How?
Very
good. I'm very impressed. See what is the thinking. If it is atu pratyanta word like bhagavat is an atu pratyanta word, or any other similar atu pratyanta word, bhavat, bhater davatu, it is atu pratyanta word. The prathama ekvachanam will cause upadha dirgha, causing bhagavan. Correct? But then in mahat also you have mahana. So there is an upadha dirgha. Correct? So you are actually using an upadha dirgha. You are saying I am using atu pratyaya to eliminate an upadha dirgha. But you are actually doing upadha dirgha in mahan by adding the word mahata all the way in a separate place santa mahata sanyogasya. Do you understand, Sri Kumarji, what?
it is ugit also, no? So ugit, ugit means first dirgha happens and then numa. Sorry.
Speak. Okay. That's okay. But eventually you are going ugit. What is the reason? Let's go slowly. What is the reason why this is called shatruvat? Why is the shatru property needed? Ugidacham sarvanama sthane adhatoho iti numagamaha bhavati. Have we seen this in multiple places? Let's go to your prakriya. Am I making it more difficult for you? You have ugidacham sarvanama sthane adhatoho iti numagamaha. Are you going ugidacham sarvanama sthane? Look at this over here. Ugitacham sarvanama sthane adhatoho iti mahat iti shabdasya numagamaha bhavati. Why is numagama possible over here? Because it is ugita word over here. Why is it ugita word over here? Because it is shatru sadrusham. Shatru is ugit. So you are making this particular word ugit because you are saying shatruvacha. By making it ugit, you are allowing or you are enabling the insertion of numagama by ugidacham sarvanamasthani adhatoho. That is the reason why this word is explicitly considered ugit. The question is, in order to consider this question as ugit, this word as ugit, ati pratyaya was added. This ati pratyaya, instead of that, if you could use atu pratyaya or atru pratyaya, what would actually happen? If atu pratyaya was added, somebody gave a very interesting answer saying atvasantasya chadhatoho ityanena upadhadirghaha bhavet. Let us go to this sutram. If many of you, given that there are not many, no hands raised, probably people do not remember what is atvasantasya chadhatoho. So atvasantasya chadhatoho, classic examples are bhagavan and so on, gatavan, bhavan, dhiman and so on. So atu pratyanta shabdasya upadhayaha prathama ekvachanasya supratyay pare dirghaha bhavati. So you have mahat. Assuming it is atu pratyanta word, you actually might be able to do upadha dirgha and create a form mahan without really needing the extra mahan word in santa mahata sanyogasya. I think I'm talking too much complicated things. Sri Kurmariji, you want to say something over here?
No, nothing, sir.
Okay, so we will. So this is a question. I want you to think about it. I don't want, this is a little bit off topic, so I don't want to discuss this in the class. Let's see if people can figure out. The question is very simple. If why is mahat given as ati pratyanta word, why not atu pratyanta word or atru pratyanta word? Take each example one by one. If atu pratyanta word is there, write down the prakriya. This is a very beautiful exercise. Try to find out where in the prakriya mistake will happen. Similarly, if it is atru pratyanta word, write down the prakriya step by step. Find out where there is a mistake in the prakriya, and then you might be able to find out why is there a reason for giving it as a ati pratyanta word. Or you might just say that there is no reason. You might be able to say atu and atru as well. But maybe for anuvrittis or maybe for some other reason, the ati word was given over here. Now I don't know from where this ati is coming as an anuvritti. Why? Vartamane Prushad Mahad Jagat Shatruvacha. This is basically the commentary says they are Ati Pratyantaha. That's why this is a Nipatanam. Ati Pratyanta Nipatanam. So why is it considered as an Ati Pratyanta? Why not Atu Pratyanta? Figure it out. If you are unable to figure out, maybe at some other point in time, next class, maybe we will discuss these points. Let us come back to what matters to us. So Mahat.
उगितचां सर्वनामस्थाने धातोः अनेन नुमागमः भवति इदं नुमागमः विदुचोऽन्त्यात् परः अनेन अन्त्यात् अचात् परः अन्त्यात् अचः परे भवति तत्पश्चात् महन्त हल्ग्याभ्यो दीर्घात् सुतिस्य पृक्तं हल अनेन तपरे स इत्यस्य अपृक्तस्य स इत्यस्य लोपः भवति.
And then what is mahanta?
शांत महत संयोगः महत् इति शब्दस्य कृते स्पेशल केसः
विशेषं कार्यं तत्र दत्तमस्ति. विशेषरूपेण चिन्तनं तस्य ग्रहणं कृतमस्ति. अतः शान्तमहतसंयोगस्य तेन महत् शब्दस्य नकारस्य उपधास्वरस्य असम्बुद्धौ सर्वनामस्थाने परे दीर्घः भवति. The problem over here is there is no akara in the upadha. It is na plus ta. That's why you have to write nakarasya upadhaswarasya. The sutram doesn't say that. The sutram simply says upadhaswarasya. If you go to, I think I explained this in the class, but if you go to the sutram santa mahata sanyogasya, the sutram does not have a nakara as an anuvritti anywhere. So mahat shabdasya nakarasya upadhaswarasya is what I am saying for simplification, but the actual way the sutram has to be interpreted is, these also have given nakarasya upadha dirgha, but there is no nakara anywhere in, why is there a nakara? I am confused. I think there is a nakara. So nakara sakara sanyoga asti tasya mahat shabdasya nakarasya upadha. I am thinking something else. Let's go to Kashika. Sakaranta sanyogasya nakaraha महतश्च नकारः तस्य उपधायः दीर्घः भवति. So सूत्रम itself has a nakara over here. So सान्त संयोगस्य महतः च यः नकारः तस्य उपधायः दीर्घः स्यात्. I was probably thinking something else. Sorry. So anyway, so सान्त महत संयोगस्य इत्यनेन महत् शब्दस्य नकारस्य उपधा स्वरस्य. So upadha is not the upadha of the original word, it is the upadha of the nakara. This itself says that you have to do the numagama first. After the numagama, there will be a nakara created and the upadha of that has to be made dirgha. So that's mahana. Last step, you have mahanta, and what happens after that?
संयोगान्तस्य लोपः अनेन
संयोगान्तस्य लोपः इत्यनेन अन्तिम अन्त इत्यस्य लोपः. Correct. There is a question over which says nipatas cannot be changed. I think you're completely confused. There are two different words over here, nipata and nipatana. Nipata is a special term in grammar. So for example, avyayas and so on. So some of the nipatas are avyayas. Not all avyayas are nipatas, but all nipatas are avyayas. So nipata is a special group of words in Vyakarana Shastra, whereas nipatana means siddha prakriyasya nirdeshaha nipatanam. A word is directly given to you in a ready-made fashion. That's what a nipatanam is. That's what that particular sutram says, that all these vartamani and so on, these words are ati pratyanta nipatanas. Means they are to be considered made by ati pratyanta. The question was exactly the same. If you want to do the nipatanam, why not consider it as atu pratyanta nipatanam, or why not consider them as atru pratyanta nipatanam? That was the question over there. Agre, sambuddhi. Only one sutram is different, everything else is same.
समानैव परन्तु उपधा दीर्घ न भवति यत्र.
कान्त महत संयोगस्य is not applicable. Next, mahatau, mahantau, sorry.
समानैव सुलभः अस्ति.
Only mahanta sarvam sulabham. Mahantaha, mahantam, mahantau, mahataha, mahata, mahadbhyam. Jashtvam. So adishya saramnasthane jashtvam. Mahadbhi, mahate, mahadbhya, mahadbhya, mahato, mahatam, mahati, mahatsu. Nothing is there. Do you want to explain anything? So this, so everybody should feel nothing is there. Then only I will become krutakrutya, that what I have taught people understood. You should feel nothing is there. If after doing dhyam you are stuck at bhyas, then there is no problem. Okay, let's
Only
go
thing
to the
is that I have not written शायद नश्चा पदान्तस्य झलि तत्पश्चात् अनुस्वारस्य.
There, mahanto and so on. So in mahanto, that's
I forgot.
So you convert it parjanyavat. So you convert it and convert it back. Okay. Shasha.
षष् अपि बहु सुलभः शब्दः. केवलं षड्भ्यो लुक् अनेन षट् संस्कृत परस्य जस् प्रत्ययस्य.
How is it? How does it have a षट् संज्ञा?
संख्या अस्ति चेत् श्रान्ता षट् अनेन
श्रान्ता षट् इत्यनेन षष् इत्यस्य षट् इति संज्ञा भवति. षट् संज्ञायां सत्यां षड्भ्यो लुक् इत्यनेन षट् सम्यकात् परस्य जस् प्रत्ययस्य लुक् भवति. तदनन्तरं झलाञ्जशोन्ते इति पदान्तस्य शकारस्य जष्ट्वे डकारः. Can you explain this to me? How is sh converted to d by jashtva? There is no similarity at all.
मूर्धा.
Correct. Riturashanam murdha. Very good. Riturashanam murdha. So sh is converted to d because murdhanya letters. And then vavasane iti shat iti bhavati. Agre. न भवति, औ औट न भवति. शस् सेम षड्भ्यो लुक जस् परे शस् परेश लुक भवति. भिस्
षड् इत्यस्य जलां जशोन्ते पदसंज्ञा अस्ति अतः
षड्भ्या षड्भ्या. Okay. षण्णाम. This is, let's talk this. षण्णाम.
षट् चतुर्भ्यश्च अनेन षट् परस्य आम् इत्यस्य नुट् आगमः भवति.
Very good. So you do jashtvam first. You do jashtvam first. Jashtve krute nakarasya, sorry. Before that nudagamah bhavati. So षट् चतुर्भ्यस्य इत्यनेन आम् इत्यस्य नुट् आगमः भवति. Why not ह्रस्वनद्यापो नुट्?
षट् शब्दः अस्ति. ह्रस्वनद्यापो
ह्रस्व नास्ति, नदी नास्ति, आबन्त नास्ति. So ह्रस्वनद्यापो is not applicable. षट् चतुर्भ्यश्च causes nudagama. Then nut becomes n becomes jhalam jashonte, n shad plus nama. What next?
न पदान्तात् टोर् अनाम् अस्ति अतः नकारस्य
So, no, okay, but it should be shtunashtuhu. Ishtunashtuhu. Na padanta toranam explicitly says nishedha na bhavati. कस्य निषेधः न भवति ष्टुत्वस्य निषेधः न भवति इत्युक्ते ष्टुत्वं कुत्र केन भवति ष्टुनाष्टुः इत्यनेन भवति स्पष्टं वा ष्टुनाष्टुः इत्यनेन ष्टुत्वं भवति let's see what I tell people everything else and I write something really relevant. Let's say shush, what have we written on the website? Shannam. Shtunashtu. Shtunashtuh iti shtutve anakarah. So it is actually shtunashtuh. Why? Because na padantat toranam simply says padantat takara ta vargiya varnat parasya ta vargiya varnasya shtutvam na bhavati parantu anam ityanena nam pratyay pare saha nishedha nishidyate. अतः ष्टुत्वं केन सूत्रेण भवति डबल निगेशन करेक्ट ष्टुत्वं केन सूत्रेण भवति पूर्वसूत्रेण भवति सो षण्णाम 1 second श्रीरंगा जी हैव अ क्वेश्चन
आचार्य जी पंचन सप्तन अष्टन नवन nakara is there, why shashan is nakara is not there, Guruji?
I'll come to that. Give me 1 minute. Okay, I'll come to that. Okay, super.
अत्र धुडागम भवति डः सीधुट् अनेन स इत्यस्य विकल्पेन धुट् आगम भवति तथा रूपद्वयं भवति अत्र षड् योगसु वा षड् योगधुट्
सो धुडागमः इत्यनेन षड् प्लस धुट् प्लस सुप विकल्पेन धुडागमः धुडागमस्य ध इत्यस्य अग्रे खरिच दिस् सूत्रं खरिच इत्यनेन तकारादेशः भवति न पदान्तात् तोरणाम् इत्यनेन धकारस्य ष्टुत्वं निषिध्यते वेरी गुड एंड देन खरिच इत्यनेन ष्टुत्वे भवति षट्सु देन अगेन चर्त्वं षट्सु एंड षट्तसु इति रूपद्वयं भवति okay now many questions over here first of all let's take the question taken by asked by Sri Rangaji. The question was you have panchan saptan ashtan why not shashan? Can somebody answer that? 1 sec before that Sri Rangaji, is that your question? Why not use it shashan? Correct, that is the question. Yes, okay. So the question is very simple. You have panchan, saptan, ashtan, navan, dashan. Why not say panchan, shashan, saptan, ashtan, navan, dashan? Anybody? This is very simple question. Anybody? My question is more difficult. Your question was very simple. Vidya ji, Vidya ji.
पञ्चन् इत्यत्र नकारः गच्छति चेत् अकारः शिष्यते तत्र षष् इत्यत्र अकारः न इष्यते
प्रथम एक पञ्चन् इत्यस्य प्रथमा बहुवचनं पञ्च इति भवति शशन इत्यस्य प्रथम एकवचनं षड् इति इष्यते न हि शश इति अतः शश इति अनुचितं रूपमस्ति तत्रापि तृतीया बहुवचने पञ्चभिः इति भवति तत्र शशभिः इति भवेत् अतः तत्र शश इति स्थापितं किल इत्येव उत्तरम् Sri Rangaji, is your question answered?
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else wants to comment anything over here? Sri Kumari ji. Ratnagar ji is saying there is a color difference for sutras. Everybody should write like this. I'm very impressed with the way this is written. Very color coding and so on. So,
for reading it is easy. For reading and understanding it is easy.
Exactly. Now I have two questions over here. First question is this, very understand this. What are the rupas? Let's read the rupas. Let's forget about the pratipadikam. Let's read the rupas. Shada is one rupa. Next is shada shata. Next is shadabhihi. Next is shadabhyaha. Next is shananam, which is basically shada plus nam. And then it is a shatta su, which is basically shada plus su. Wouldn't it be easier to create the pratipadikam as a shada instead of shasha? And then instead of shananta shata, you can say dinanta shata. Doesn't really matter. We need the shata samya. You give the shata samya one way or the other, but create the pratipadikam called shada. Because in every form you see shada, shadbhi, shadbhya, shandam, shatsu. Why create a pratipadika called shasha? If someone can answer this correctly, I will be very impressed. This is not taught to you, but you should be able to answer it if you think a little bit. The question is, why is the pratipadikam shash and not shada? If anybody wants to speak,
षण्णवतिः
same na, da is there, then convert it to na. Shad plus navati is षण्णवति, right? If anybody wants to speak, you can raise your hand. Don't type the answer directly, so that I know I can let you speak. I can either give out the answer, or I can keep this as a surprise or as a food for thought, and you can work it out on your own separately. You will not find the answer to this anywhere else. In this course, there are so many things you will not find in any other course. This is not anything unique. Ratnakarji.
Acharya, is it because of the murdhanya aspect that
Dakara is also murdhanya and da is also murdhanya, right? Both of them are murdhanya. Right? Basically, we are trying to reduce a lot of steps. The whole Jashtva becomes redundant because you have Shada. So Shadabhi, Shadabhya, Shadabhya, and so on. So shall this be kept as a secret for people to think? You don't know the sutras, you probably haven't studied that. But if you think, you should be able to guess it. I'll give you a hint and then you might be able to answer it. There are some words which are very well known. The siddhi of those words, even if you don't know the siddhi of those words, the siddhi of those words will be problematic if you start with shada. Now I have given a big hint. Anybody wants to think about it? Ashutosh ji.
Words like Shashti will not be able to establish.
Shashti. Very good. That's all that I was asking. Okay. Very impressed. Shashtha. Basically, Shashtha. The Purana Pratyayanta word Shashtha indicating sixth. This word is generated by adding tha to shasha. Shasha plus tha. This tha becomes tha by shtutva, giving shashtha, and then ikara pratyay will be there to form shashti. Now, if you start with shada, there is no way you can create shashti or shashtha. See how brilliantly Panini has thought through all these things, right? The pratipadikam, explicitly he created the pratipadikam as a shasha in order to simplify the creation of the words like shashtha. Obviously, if the pratipadikam would have been shada, he would have added a few more sutras. I mean, I'm not saying it's not possible. If the pratipadikam would have been shada, he might have created a few more sutras to convert that da specifically to sh in case of purna pratyas and so on. But that would be unnecessarily complex. You start with shasha, automatically you have a jashtva that will convert sh to da. And in cases where a jashtva is not possible, sh will remain as it is, giving rise to forms like shashtha or shashti indicating sixth. That's the reason why shasha was the pratipadikam that he chose. Agre gacchamaha. So that comes. Oh, there is another aspect that I wanted to discuss over here. This is a remnant from the previous class. In the previous class, I said I cannot think of, I don't remember the answer or I don't know the answer. The question was, you have these sutras, da, si, dhutta. Do people remember the question? There is a sutram called da, si, dhutta and nascha. Da, si, dhutta and nascha. And we said that in both these sutras, in the prakriya, there is always chartvam possible. Therefore, dha is always converted to ta. Therefore, why not create the sutram as da si tutta? So you see all the examples of da, si, dhutta. You can see there is a dhudagama created, da, si, dhutta over here, and that dhudagama is that, sorry. That dhudagama dha is converted to ta because of kharicha as chartva. Same thing over here. Anywhere you see the dhudagama, it is converted to ta. The question was, why is this dhudagama given as dhudagama? If it is anyway to be converted to ta, why not consider it as tudagama? Tutta iti agama. You go to Nyasa, which is a commentary on Kashika, and I'll not go in the, I mean, basically, I'll not go in the details, but I gave you a very convincing argument that it should be Tut Agama, not Dhud Agama. If you go to the Nyasa commentary, the Nyasa the commentator in this commentary says, Tasmat Tut eva vaktavyaha vaichitriartham dhudvachanam. So he says that all the argument that you did was correct. Actually, it should be tut only. Da si tutta iti uchyate chetapi doshaha nasti. Vaichitriartham dhudvachanam. Vaichitria means some quirk, some weird thing in the Sutra Patha which we cannot justify. We say Panini is an Acharya, even if he makes one mistake here and there, we take it as a Bhagavad Vakya and we take it as it is. So Vaichitriartha, no particular explanation for Dhudagama. Vaichitriya means it's a weird thing that Dhudagama is present. It should technically be Tut Agama. If you go to the second commentary, Padamanjari, same commentary on Kashika, another commentary, sorry, same Grantha Kashika, another commentary Padamanjari, Tasmat Tud eva vaktavyaha. He also comes to the same conclusion. There should be a Tut Agama only, not a Dhud Agama. I mean, not in the sense Dhud Agama is okay, but Dhud Agama is not really needed. You can have a Tut Agama. The interesting point is that there is a reason why the Dhut Agama is created. It is not attribute, I mean, the reason has nothing to do with Panini Maharshi. The reason has to do with someone else. Panini Maharshi might have written Dhutta instead of Tutta Vaichitriartham, or he might have made a mistake, but that turned out to be a blessing in disguise. Panini Maharshi might not know that instead of Dhuda, he wanted to do a Tutta. In his Sutra Patha, whether it was a Dhuda or Tutta would not make a difference. That is what Nyasakara and Padamanjari is saying, that as far as pure Sutra Patha is concerned, Tut is perfectly okay. But when it comes to the Vartika, the Dhuda present over here is a blessing in disguise. Why? Because we have the Vartikam which we discussed just few minutes ago, Chayodvitiyaha Shari Paushkara Saderiti Vacham. If the Agama would have been directly Tutta Agama, then the initial configuration would be Shada Ta Santa, and at this particular place, Chayodvitiyaha Shari Paushkara Saderiti Vacham would have forced Takara, at least optionally, to be converted to Thakara, giving at least an optional form Shada Tha Santaha. Why? Because you are doing the Tudagama right in the beginning. From Da Si Dhutta, instead of that, you are saying Da Si Tutta. So the Tudagama is done in 8.3.29. Chayodvityaha Shari Paushkara Saderiti Vachyam is in 8.4.48. Nadinyakroshya Putrasya. You can apply 8.4.48 after 8.3.29 and create Shadatha Santaha, which is not a correct form. You only get Shada Ta Santa and Shata Ta Santaha to be correct. So you cannot say Shata Ta Santaha, you can only say Shata Ta Santaha. That particular valid form is now possible because a Dhudagama was given. A Dhudagama is converted to Takara only by Kharicha, which comes after Chayodvitya Shari Paushkara Saderiti Vacham. So after the Takara is created, now you cannot do Chayodvitiyaha because of Asiddhatva. We just talked about this a few minutes ago. Therefore, if Sutrakaram would have created a Takara directly in the Sutram, incorrect application of Chayodvitiya was possible, which means Vartikakara could not have kept Chayodvitiyaha in Nadinya Kroshe Putrasya. He would have forced to keep it somewhere else and maybe then create another Vartika to cover the cases in between. In order, because there was a Dhudagama over here, the life became a little easy for the Vartikakara and he could create Chayodvitiya Shri Paushkara Saderiti Vacham in Nadinya Kroshe Putrasya, which came before Kharicha. So this particular, whatever you can say mistake or you can say Vaichitriartham, Dhakara, Grahanam and so on, turned out to be blessing in disguise for the Vartikakara, because of which he could create Chayodvitiyaha at the place where he was able to, where he created it right now. That is the reason in this Prakriya I have explicitly written this, that Dha gets converted to Ta and then Chartvasya Siddhatva Chayodvitiya iti Pakshikha Thakara Desha na bhavati. Maybe some other commentaries might have somewhere explained this point over here, but if not, is there in my commentary written over here. So this is the reason why the Dhudagama, whether Panini knew all these things or not, we don't know. But whatever he did turned out to be blessing in disguise. Any further questions on Shat word? If no, then Samapayamaha. Purnima ji will go to you, Nadi and Lakshmi in the next class. Nadi and Lakshmi, we just have to take one word. Nadi and then Lakshmi. Prathama Ekvachanam is what all we have to do. Ratnakar, do you have a question?
Not exactly on this. You said Nipata and Nipatanam. These two are different words. So Nipada is a sanya that is given to some particular shabdas. And whereas Nipatanam is a ready-made prakriya, which was already ready-made, rather in Rudi Adda, Nipatanam is used. Is that so, my understanding?
Nipatana is a word whose prakriya is already understood or is only already given. It's like a ready-to-eat food. So Siddha prakriya se nirdesha nipatanam. The whole purpose of a prakriya is to do the final form. If the final form is itself given to you, why will you do prakriya? So Siddha prakriya se nirdesha means the prakriya is already given to you or you don't have to worry about the prakriya. That is nipatana.
Excuse me, Acharya. With all excuses, there is one question. Vyakarana Shastra Nipatanam kim Yadecham Pancha Sutrani Swadaharanam Nirupayata. This was the question asked in one of the this thing.
So basically what it says is Nipatanam ityasya artha Siddha prakriyasya nirdesha. This is the word that you have to write. Siddha prakriyasya nirdesha nipatanam. It will be there in one of our slides. And Yathecham Panchasutrani Nirupayata means write any 5 sutras where a Nipatana is given. So I don't know whether I don't recollect if we have studied 5 sutras, but probably not. In the Samasa Prakaranam, Krudanta Prakaranam, you will see, in Tadhita Prakaranam, you will see hundreds of sutras. 100 is an exaggeration, but you see many sutras, not handful. More than that, where Nipatanam is given. So my favorite sutram is this Raja Surya Surya Mushodhya Rajasuya Surya Mrushodhya Rucha Kupya Krushta Pracha Vyatthyaha. Rajasuya Surya Mrushodhya Rucha Kupya Krushta Pracha Avyathya Ete Shabdaha Kyapi Nipatyante. So these are generated in presence of Kyapa Pratyaya. There is another one. Chandasi Nishtarkya Devahu Yapraniyo Niyo Chashamarya Stavya Dvarya Khanya Khanya. Look at this. Devayadya Prucha Pratishivya Brahmavadyopachavya Brahmavadya Bhavyasthavyopacharya Pradani. All these words Nipatyante. So try, if you're not getting sleep, you should repeat this 5 times. Chandase Nishtarkya Devahu Yapraniyo Niyo and so on. Within 5 minutes you will go to bed. So this is so such kind of 5 sutras probably the question might have asked you to answer.
And one more thing that I observed, particularly in Kridanta, in other places where you have given a Sutra Sankhya, if I click on that Sutra Sankhya, it directly routes to Sutra. That was the one that is given. But whereas in Kridanta, in the Udaharana, there were certain words. But if I have to look at the prakriya, I should go to the Dhatu Pata and then find out the word and then Kridanta, something like that.
No, you have a different tool for that. I mean, the tool, you're using it a tool different. Krut Pratyavali, for example. Here, for example, take any Pratyaya Luch. So these are the dhatus: pruhi, gruhi, patidayi, nidra, tandra, shraddhabhya, alucha. So all these are dhatus.
Like what I say, you just take any Kridanta sutra, just any Kridanta.
Sutram. This is a sutram.
Some sutram you check.
This is a sutram.
Down the line, you get this thing.
No, this doesn't have my commentary. I don't have my commentary everywhere else. I mean,
further down. Now, yeah, you are right. Exactly there. Just down.
There, it's at the end of the page. I can't go down anymore.
No, it's not the end of the page. It may be in the middle of.
Here.
Now, correct. Supposing spruhyaluhu, if I want to see the prakriya, I cannot see. Again, I have to go to the dhatu partner and Kridanta, one particular section is there, or whatever pratyaya is
but
there.
that's true with everything. I mean, tadhitas is true in subantas. I mean, for example, Ramaha, where you will see, here in the Krudan, in Siddhanta Kaumudi, it is because Siddhanta Kaumudikara expects you to already know the prakriya. I mean, see, look at where Krudanta Prakaranam is. Krudanta Prakaranam is 66. Have you studied first 65 Prakaranas before going over here?
No.
If yes, then you will automatically understand the prakriya. I am talking like how is Siddhanta Kaumudi.
As someone said, all prakriyas are nipatanas.
So basically, that is the reason. I mean, I don't know for what you are studying, but directly studying Krudanta Prakaranam without studying any of the previous Prakaranas is not recommended. This is the reason why this Prakarana is kept all the way at the end. One of the most intricate Prakaраnas.
In fact, I was listening to one of your, maybe I think it was the introductory, this thing on Vyoma of yours.
Many years ago, correct.
You were asking us to recite the sutras, by heart the sutras, the entire third Ashtadhyayi.
Correct. So that as a part of that course, correct. So entire third Ashtadhyayi we wanted to recite. That's why I know. I mean, I recite, I memorize. That's why I can tell others. Anyway, so somebody is saying, looks like it doesn't help you sleep. No, these basically take away my sleep. This is like a good exercise for me. It should be for you also. Anyway, any further questions? Ratnaka, do you have any other questions? No, right? Purnima ji.
Kramita Mohdaya, it's already late. But still, last time we had one more question you had asked, right? Like, Anga is now why it is not taken, why Ta is being brought by Panini. That question was there. But time is over, so if you want to
that's
answer.
okay, but we got the answer, right? Sadhu, for example. Sadhu, that was the example, right? Sadhu plus na. Somebody gave an example at that point in time. Sadhu plus na, if you use ang directly, then ang is a ngit pratyaya. So gher ngiti will cause a gunadesha, causing sadhona. That is not a correct form. So it should be sadhuna. The answer was given right there. The question that I asked was find out other instances. So for example, there will be a problem with matya. There will be a problem with sarva, sarvaya. So or malaya, some one of those. So these are the places where there will be some or the other problem that I wanted to figure out. Wanted you to figure out. So work out the prakriya for matya. Work out the prakriya for sarvaya, I think, or malaya. I don't remember now. But one of those prakriyas will be a problem. Okay. So that you have to figure out. Okay. And the example was given in the class that for sadhu plus ta, if you have sadhu plus ta, ta will become na by angona striyam, and if ang is considered a ngit pratyaya, their gher ngiti will do a gunadesha on the anga, making sadhu converting to sadhu, forming sadhona. That will be an incorrect form. Okay. Any further questions? If not, we will stop. Tomorrow we will continue. We finished what? 1, 2, 3, 4. I think till May or June we are going to continue with Subanta only. But tomorrow we'll do Nadi, Lakshmi, Kim, Chandrama, Swach, Kim, Strilinga. If there are like 2 or 3 more people, please send your names on the group. I will add it in the list over there. We'll continue. Let's see how many classes we continue. At least we are now processing all the words, all the vibhakti forms, bhyam, bis, bhyas, and so on. Many places there are varnamilam and so on. But questions that I ask and the discussion that happens in the class is taking most of the time. Let's see how we can speed it up. Samapayamaha agrima shwaha, not agrima saptahe, shwaha niyamita rupena kaksha bhavishyati. अष्टाध्यायी जगन्माता यस्य चित्तात् समुत्थिता वेदानामुपकाराय तस्मै पाणिनये नमः. शब्द ब्रह्म समाराध्य कृतवान्यो विलक्षणं सर्वाश्चर्यमिदं शास्त्रं तस्मै पाणिनये नमः. येन धौता गिरः पुंसां विमलैः शब्दवारिभिः तमश्चाज्ञानजं भिन्नं तस्मै पाणिनये नमः। धन्यवादः।